Hey fellow gliders, welcome to the after party of the Monetize Your Glide app series. In this video, we're going to talk about how to create a multi-tier subscription model in your Glide app. If you haven't taken a look at the first three videos, make sure you do that first because this is a continuation of those videos and you'll need to know exactly what's going on prior to starting anything within this video. All right, so in video one, we set up our subscriptions sheet. In video two, we set up our pay here link. And in video three, we created our make scenario. So in this video, what we're planning on doing is adding on to our subscription sheet in order to make sure that we can bring in plans correctly. We're also going to modify our pay here link in order to bring in information about what plan we're planning on paying for. And then we have to adjust our make scenario in order to account for which plan users are subscribing to and canceling from. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start in our promo screen sheet. In our previous video, we had set up this screen to just house information about the one subscription that we were offering. But let's say we're offering more than one level of subscription. So let's go ahead and add in a couple of more rows, and let's add a couple of more plans. So let's say a gold plan and a platinum plan. Right? And each of these plans will have a different description. I'm just going to paste these. And let's go ahead and just adjust the description here to account for that name. Fine. And then each of these subscriptions probably have a different dollar amount. I'm going to keep it very small, just so I'm not paying a bunch of money as I'm testing this out. Just something that we can recognize that they have different plans. What's nice is that all of our computed columns, again, adjust correctly, and our pay here links adjust correctly as well. Now, we're going to leverage a couple of neat features in Pay Here to allow for these different plans information to come through the link. So we're going to open up our Pay Here link, and we're going to add in two new parameters. The first one here is link underscore title, and the next one is link underscore description. Okay. The link title will be the name of our plan, and the link description will be the description of our plan. If I hit done and go to let's say the gold plan, let's copy that link and paste it into a new tab. And we should see that now our Pay Here link has the gold plan as the title and the gold plan as the description. So now it's nice for the end user to see exactly what plan they are subscribing to. This is brand new in Pay Here as of 2022, right? So I'm really glad that Pay Here made that advancement for us. Now, what doesn't carry over into the Pay Here webhook is this information. So we still need to send this information through the webhook somehow. So one way to do that is through a hidden field in Pay Here. Let's show you how to set that up. So we're going to visit my Pay Here link, visit the Custom Fields tab, and we're going to add in a new text field. This text field is going to be required, but it's also going to be hidden. So our customer still won't see it, nor will have to fill it out. We're just going to pass some information on the back end. The label for this, let's make it plan underscore name. And then we'll save changes. Okay, so now we can pass the value of plan name into our subscription. All right, let's go back to our Glide app and add in that parameter as well. So we're going to double click on Pay Here link, add a new parameter, and we're going to enter in that custom field dynamically. So we're going to say custom underscore field underscore, and then the name of the label that you created. Regardless of what you chose, for me it was plan underscore name. But if you added spaces or capital letters, you have to remove those for this field name. This field name requires lowercase letters, no spaces. All right, and we're going to select the name of our plan to pass along through the webhook. And done. All right, so let's go ahead and test that out. We also have to allow Make to recognize the fact that we have new parameters in our Pay Here link. So the first thing I'm going to do is head over to Pay Here, visit my dashboard, and cancel any subscriptions I currently have open. All right, next I'm going to head over to my make scenario, and we are going to run the scenario once, but we're going to run it through a different plan. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, let's say, the gold plan here. I'm going to copy this link, open it up in a new tab, and submit a new payment. All right, we should see that it follows the second path to update our subscription. And now if we go back to our Glide app, we should see that I now have a subscription and I should have the gold plan. It's currently success and active, right? And we have a new customer ID and subscription ID and all of that. Okay. Okay, what we don't have in here yet is the name of our plan, right? The name of the plan that we're bringing in to this sheet is the name of the plan that we created in Payhere, but it's not the name of the plan that we have created in Glide. So I created a new column here called plan level, and we're gonna fill this information out as part of the webhook. So we need to tell our make scenario to fill out this new column called plan level. Okay, so let's go back to our make scenario. And again, we have some information here that we can now leverage. So this is going to be during the update glide phase. So with this update glide, okay, we're going to add in a new key value pair. So I'm going to add a comma, new line, double quotes, colon, double quotes, no comma. The name of the column was plan level in my case. Right? And the value can be found underneath the new custom fields parameter that we got from the last subscription. So if we open up custom fields, we now see plan name. See that? And it says gold plan. So now we can enter in the plan name as part of our update. There we go. All right, so let's pretend that it actually carried through. Plan level should be, let's say, gold plan. That's what would have been filled out. And now we can adjust our Glide app to reflect that. Currently, right now, in our user profile screen, we have just the name of monthly subscription, but now we can actually put in the name of the plan here. So in our data grid, we're going to change the value from plan to plan level. And so now they can see they have the gold plan, where the last payment is this. Next payment should be on January 12th. Not sure why that didn't carry over. We'll have to figure that out. And then the amount for $1.25. All right, so somewhere in our update glide, this is not coming through. Let's figure that out while we're in our make scenario. Okay, so we have last payment. Next payment should be the next charge at, and we see next charge at, yeah, that value should have come through. So that's what I mentioned in my last video, is that this is sometimes hit or miss. Sometimes it comes through, sometimes it doesn't come through, and I'm not sure why. So if you know that you're offering monthly subscriptions every time, you can trash this and just say next month. And you know that the words next month will be converted into next month's date within that column. Okay, so let's replace the last updated date, which should have worked, not sure why it didn't, which lists the words next month. Okay, so now we have a way to update our subscription with their newest plan, right? And we can display that plan here in their sheet. We also then need to allow our users to select a plan. So I'm going to go in here and cancel my subscription. I'm going to run this once. And I'm going to cancel my subscription, and we should see that it gets canceled here. Confirm cancellation. It should follow the second path, and it did. So now we see that my plan was canceled. If I were to go to my subscription sheet, we should see that my gold plan is now canceled, which means I'm no longer an active user based upon my logic. Okay, so let's go ahead and edit our subscription sheet. All right, so right now what we currently have is a web embed directly on the Subscribe Now page. Instead, what we want is the web embed to appear as part of the choice that they're selecting. So instead of selecting the web embed right on the page, let's have them pick something from a collection. So I'm going to trash our web embed Payhere link and add it again later. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to add a collection. We can add it via maybe a card layout like this. If you have an image that represents that plan, you can put it here as part of the image. I'm going to trash it for now because I don't have any images that represent the plan. And now you can just kind of fine tune what these cards look like. So maybe the meta is going to be the name of the plan. And then the title can be the payment amount, right? And then you have a description underneath. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Make our card size bigger. Something like that. Okay, now we're not going to allow them to add plans or edit plans, so we're going to remove search. We're going to remove add and edit. So we get something that kind of looks like this. That's fine for now, I think. All right, and then when we go ahead and open it up, we don't really want to open it up in a brand new screen like this. Instead, what we can do is we can show it in a modal. Let's go ahead and go to our actions, enable advanced actions, and we can show the display screen or the detail screen maybe in an overlay. So now if we click on it, it displays it in a pop-up overlay that they can see this way. We see this is the gold plan, this is the platinum plan, and this is the silver plan. Just like that. Yeah, you can also play around with this. Maybe you want it in a slide overview instead. Like this. Completely up to you. All right, so now I can subscribe to the plan that I want directly within my Glide app. Now, this does beg the question, what if you want to allow your users to freely switch between plans without canceling first? Currently, our logic says once they've selected a plan, this Subscribe Now tab goes away, and then they would have to cancel their plan in order to subscribe to a new plan, right? So let's say I have currently the gold plan. Let's go ahead and resubscribe to the gold plan. All right, I've subscribed. The tab goes away, which is perfect. Now our users will see that they've entered the courses or the premium tab, right? Okay, but what if we want them to be able to switch between those plans? Maybe they want to downgrade their plan to silver, all right? Well, that means that we don't want to hide the Subscribe Now tab. We want them to be able to switch between their plans. Okay, so if we go to the Subscribe Now tab, we probably want to remove that visibility condition so that way they can still see the plans and switch between the plans. That also means we need to know what plan they're currently on and probably not allow them to upgrade on that plan again, right? Okay, so to do that, we need to know what plan they're on. We can do that because we have still that relation to the active subscription. And our subscription sheet now has the name of the plan that they've selected, gold plan here. So we can actually bring in that value into the user table. So let's go ahead and add a column to the right of our relation. We're going to call this current plan. And this will be a lookup column. And we're going to look up from that relation the name of the plan level. Okay. That means that we can hide this plan or offer some sort of display or icon that this is the plan they currently have. So maybe what we do on this layout screen here is we hide the value that they already have. So this collection here, we can filter it. We'll add a filter to where the name of the plan is not the name of the plan they currently have, the user profile current plan. Right? So now they can switch between the silver plan or the platinum plan. That also means we can probably put their current subscription at the top so that way they know they can't select the gold plan because they already belong to the gold plan. So we can revisit our view profile here and let's copy this whole container with had this information in it, right? We'll copy that. We'll head back to our Subscribe Now page and let's paste it above our collection. All right, we have to adjust some of our conditions here, like this container should only appear when the user profile relation to active subscription is not empty. And then inside this component, it didn't look like I carried over that data table. So let's go ahead and do that again. So insert component, data grid. And this data grid, right now it's got all of the promo screens in it, but really it should be just the one that they belong to. So we could do one of two things. We can either filter the screen or we can do the user profile relation to active subscription. I think that's what I'll do. And then we have to refill this out again. Okay, so that's fine. So our title again was plan name. The value here was going to be the plan level. And then we're going to add in a couple of items. We'll say the last payment, next payment, and the payment amount. All right, we also had it set up so that they weren't going to be able to search for anything, nor were they going to be able to add or remove anything. We can give this a title now of current plan, right? And under actions, we still want to allow them to cancel this plan from here, right? So we can enable advanced actions, add a primary action, and we could say manage subscription. And again, this is going to be an open link, and we were going to open the link of their custom page for their customer portal. That URL is app.payhere.co/customers. All right, this looks okay. Maybe on this collection down here, we can adjust the title to say switch to a different plan. And then they'd be able to switch to a different plan. Now, the only problem with this is that currently, whenever they switch to a different plan, it's going to create a new subscription, which technically means that we're going to have a second subscription in our Pay Here's list of subscriptions. So this user would be paying twice per month, and we don't want that. So what we would need this logic to do is, as they subscribe to a new plan, cancel any other plans that they had already subscribed to, and then just keep the last payment information. So if we were to switch to the silver plan, it would see that there's a new subscription. In Glide, everything would carry over now to the silver plan, which it currently does, but we'd have to cancel any other plans that are currently active on that user's account. So that's where we have to tap into make and make that happen. So let's make the adjustment to this make scenario to account for allowing our users to switch between plans freely. Now, I told you in my last video that I have spent hours and hours trying to craft the perfect make scenario that can account for all of the different things that we might want make and pay here to do. So all of the logic that we are going to create here is going to be in this second branch of our router. This first branch is only going to occur if the person doesn't have a row ID saved in the data store. But we know that they are because they're switching their subscription. They already have one in Glide. So it's going to hit this second branch. We're still going to want it to make a request to grab all of the customer information. But before we grab this last payment and last subscription, we want to create a new array of all of their active subscriptions, so that way we can cancel them as part of this scenario. All right, so to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of move this over a little bit to give myself some space. And I'm gonna add in a new tool here, and we're going to set a new variable. And this variable is going to be, let's rename it here. Let's call this active subscriptions. The variable name, let's make this again active underscore subscriptions, lifetime one cycle, and the name of the value is we're going to create a new array. And we want to sort this array just like last time by the IDs. So we're going to sort a new array, and we can create a new array using the map feature of make. So we're going to sort and then map a new array. The array that we're going to map is the subscriptions coming in. So the subscriptions array. Okay. And we're going to map it by the ID. So it's going to create a new list or a new array of IDs only where the status is active. And we're going to filter this subscriptions array to where the status of the subscription is active. Okay. And then again, we're going to sort this list of subscriptions by their ID ascending. Okay. So the array we just created is a list of all of the subscriptions that the person has that are currently active, and it's sorted by the subscription ID. That means that the very last value in that array is the most recent, and that's the one we want to keep. And we want to get rid of all the other ones. So if we just remove that last value from the array, the resulting array should be all subscriptions that we want to cancel. All right, so let's get rid of this last value, and we can do that again through some tools. And the tools here is just going to be a new variable name. We could probably override it, but that's okay. We'll just set a new variable here. And we'll call this previously active subscriptions. All right. And all we have to do is remove the last value from the array. Okay, probably a couple of ways to do that. One way, let's go ahead and flatten the array. And we're going to then slice the array. And when we slice an array, it's asking for the beginning of the array and the end of the array. So the beginning of the array should be 0. And the end of the array should be the length of the array minus 1. So we could say the length of the array, and the array in this case is the active subscriptions. And we want the length of the array minus, so our math tools here, minus 1. Okay. And that should be it. All right, so now we should have a list of all subscriptions, and this is the list of subscriptions that are only active and not the most recent. All right, let's rename these. So the first one here is get active subscriptions. Let's copy that. All right, this other one here, let's rename, and we'll call this get previously active subscriptions. All right, so now what we can do here is add a router in between these two sets of tools. Because what we want to happen is if there are any active subscriptions, we want to cancel them. Okay. Otherwise, if there aren't any active or previously active subscriptions, it can just continue on as normal. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a tool here. Let's add a router. And I'm going to break this chain here for a second. So unlink. Let's add it here. Let's add this here. All right, let's add in a new value down here. All right, so it's going to follow this path if there are any previously active subscriptions. So if the length of this array is greater than 0, which we can use as our condition. Okay, so we're going to set up a filter here, and we're going to call this cancel previous subscriptions. All right, so we want to check to see, does the length of the previously active subscriptions, okay, if it's greater than 0. Okay, so we got all of their active subscriptions, getting just the previously active subscriptions. If there aren't any, it continues on as normal. But if this value is greater than 0, so there are previously active subscriptions, it's going to follow the second path. Okay. Now, what do we want this to do here? Well, we want it to go through all of the previously active subscriptions, because there might be more than one somehow, some way, right? Go through all of them one at a time and cancel them. Okay, so to do that, we need an iterator. An iterator will go through an array one item at a time and then repeat itself for every item in that array. So under tools, we can add an iterator. We'll attach it over here, and then I guess we'll just trash this gray one. That way it keeps our filter. All right, and we want it to go through the array of active subscriptions. So we're going to point the previously active subscriptions as the array. All right, so we've added an iterator here to go through all of our previously active subscriptions, and we want to cancel them one at a time. Luckily, Payhere provides us an API for that. So we can add in an HTTP module to make a request. And the request we're going to make is a cancel or a delete request. And if we go to the Payhere developer site and go down to their subscriptions section, we see that there is a delete call we can make. All it's requesting, again, is our authorization bearer token and this specific URL. So I'm going to copy that URL. We see the type here is no longer a post, but it's a delete. So that's interesting. I'm going to go ahead and go to our make scenario, go to the HTTP module. Method here is delete. The URL looks like this. And the ID that's going to what we want is the subscription ID of the time that we're iterating through it. So we're actually going to point the ID in this URL to the value of our iterator, right? Because again, this list of previously active subscriptions, this array, all it is are subscription IDs that are sorted. Okay, so we're going to grab the value here of that iterator. We need to add a body type raw, content type JSON. We don't need to add anything in our request content. All we have to do is provide a header where we're defining our authorization token on the Payhere side. All right, so I just did that and collapsed the header so you can't see the whole thing for security's sake. Hit OK. All right, so now we have a scenario where it's going to cancel all of our previous subscriptions and just leave the last subscription. Okay, one little thing to figure out here though is that when it makes this call to cancel subscriptions, it's going to trigger our webhook again. And what we don't want to happen is that it says, oh yeah, cancel the webhook or cancel our subscription and have it go through our scenario and give the current user a canceled status for their subscription. So we have to add a little bit more logic here at the end router. So to prevent our scenario from updating Glide every time a previous subscription is canceled, we need to add in some additional logic here. All right, let's go ahead and adjust this if successful payment filter. One way to do it is let's add a rule, and we're going to add where the event that's coming through does not contain, case insensitive, the word cancel. Okay, so as long as it's not a cancellation request, it'll update Glide and update our data store. However, there will be a time where we do want to reflect that the last subscription that they have, their most current subscription, is canceled. So we're going to account for one more branch logic here. We're going to add in another branch. And this will be label cancel last subscription or cancel most recent subscription. And this condition is going to be where the last subscription ID is equal to, or we can say contains case insensitive, but is equal to case insensitive. Let's say the subscription ID that's coming in from our cancellation request webhook. So this will be the subscription ID. All right, so in this case, this is 30279 is the cancellation request, right? But my last subscription ID was also 30279. So in that regards, I do want to cancel my subscription in Glide, right? But all of the previous subscriptions that come in, we don't want to reflect in Glide. Okay, so in this case, we'll update Glide. In this case, I can just clone, attach like this. And really the only field we need to update here is the subscription status. We want that to be canceled. All right, so really we can trash everything else because nothing else is gonna change if we're just canceling our last subscription. So I'm gonna go ahead and just trash all these other things here, right? And then we should be good to go. And then okay, so just subscription status, right? And again, no comma at the end. Okay, and we don't need to update our data store because we're not changing anything as part of this cancellation request. All right, let's go ahead and save this scenario for now. All right, the last piece of the puzzle here is if you want to provide a refund to your users when they switch plans. So if there were any active subscriptions, right? And it takes this route, and we're going to cancel, or it's going to go through all of the previous plans one at a time. You might want to offer a refund of those plans because they just paid for a different plan. So you're giving them like a prorated amount on the plans that they've canceled. So if you want to go this route, then this is the logic that I've come up with that seems to work pretty reliably. All right, so we've already made the request to cancel these things one at a time, and now we can refund them one at a time as part of this branch. All right, so the first thing we have to do is grab the payment ID of this request. So one way to do that is by mapping out, just like we mapped out of the active subscriptions here, we can do the same thing with the payment IDs. So I'm going to create a new tool, set a variable. Okay. And we are going to grab the canceled subscription payment ID. So this is going to be the canceled subscription payment ID. All right, we're going to map just like we did last time. We're going to map the data coming in, and the data we want is the payments. Okay, and we're going to map the IDs of the payments, but we're only going to get the payment ID of the subscription that got canceled. So we can map this, and we're going to filter our mapping to where the subscription ID, this is what's coming in from the webhook, where the subscription ID matches the value that we're iterating on, like that. Okay, so this should result in the payment ID that we want to refund. Well, technically this results in an array of the payment IDs that we want to get a refund of, right? So in order to actually get the value, we probably have to iterate on this as well. That's okay. That's pretty easy. Okay, so flow control, let's add an iterator. And we're going to iterate on this. Oop, let's rename this. This would be like payment canceled. Let's say canceled payment array. All right, so the array here is going to be this canceled payment array. Okay, and this will result in the payment ID that we want to refund. So we can actually get information from Payhere using that payment ID. Let's head back to the Payhere API, and we can say here under payments, we can get information from an ID. Let's go ahead and visit that page. Again, all we need is the token, application JSON, and this get request URL. So let's go ahead and copy that. Visit our make scenario. We're going to add in a new HTTP request. And this is going to be the URL. The ID is going to be the value that's coming from our most recent iterator. The method is going to be a get. And we're going to add in our authorization token as well under the header here in just a second. Again, body type raw, content type JSON. All right, let's add in that header, name, authorization. I probably should have saved this as a variable somewhere. That's okay. We'll just cut and paste. Okay. All right, so now we have a bunch of information about the last payment ID. Let's go ahead and rename this to get canceled payment info. Okay, and then we just have to figure out how much we're refunding them. All right, so we need to set a new variable with that refund amount. So I'm going to do a tool. We're going to set a variable. Variable name will be refund amount. Okay, and the variable value. Okay, so for this, we actually have to probably run it once in order to get all of the dates and things we need as part of this data here. I guess what we need to do here is run the subscription again, or run the scenario again, so that way it can follow this branching logic by making a new subscription. We make a new subscription, it should follow the second path and cancel our previous subscription and at least get us information about what was canceled. All right, so let's go ahead and save, run once. I'm gonna go ahead and apply for a new plan. All right, so right now I'm on the gold plan. Let's switch plans just so we can see that things have changed. I'm gonna go to the silver plan here. Again, it's easier just to do it in the browser. So promo screen, silver plan, here's my link. Let's go ahead and paste that here. Pay. All right, we should see that it follows the second path. Oh, and we have an error. Oh, I didn't define the array here. I need to slice my active subscriptions. Okay, then 0, then length. Okay, I didn't tell it what array to slice. That would help. Okay, let's go ahead and run once. Process existing. There it goes. Okay, so did all the things, hooray. All right, that's cool. All right, so we should see that I have, let's see what happened here. If I go to subscriptions, I should now be on the silver plan and it should not be canceled. Good, it's active, excellent. It should have canceled my previous plan. So if I go to pay here, I should see I only have one plan. Yep, I only have one plan. And this one should be my most recent. There's no way to really tell, except if I were to export the CSV file here, I should see that my silver plan is the most recent. All right, so now all I have to do is offer a refund. Okay, so we're gonna figure out what that refund should be. Okay, so we have some data coming in here. Oh, we didn't parse the data. Okay, so let's go to our get canceled payment info. Parse response, yes. Hit OK and save and run once. Process existing, maybe it'll give us the same information again. No, it didn't. Okay, so we have to make a new payment, that's okay. All right, run once. Okay, now we have some parsed information that we can leverage in our variable. All right, the first thing we have to do is figure out how much time has elapsed between now and the payment that we made, because we're going to use that ratio to determine the amount of the refund. So we're actually going to leverage that date several times, and we actually have to parse that date because it's coming in as a string, this created at, this payment string, right? But it needs to be formatted in a specific way to be used within make. So prior to calculating this refund, let's go ahead and create a new variable. So set variable, let's put it right in between here. And this variable will be called payment date. The variable value here is going to be a parsed date. So make does allow us to have some date logic, some date operators that we can leverage. So up here, we see the little calendar icon. And in here, we can use the parse date function. You see the first value it's looking for is the date that we're bringing in. And the second value is going to be the format. So the first value that we're bringing in here is going to be the created at under the get canceled payment info module. So that's going to be the created at. And we can see that this date is formatted as a long month, day, comma, full year, hour, minutes, and then AM, PM. So it's not military time. All right. Now yours might be different. I'm just going based off what I'm seeing here as this string. So my formatting is going to be reflective of this. This is what's coming in from Payhere anyway. Based upon your own region or locale, it might be different, but I doubt it. So anyway, this is what works for me. So we're going to parse this date and then tell make what format this date is in. Well, it's got the full month. I know that's 4 capital M's based upon Google searching. Space, and then days. And it's only a singular day. So if it was December 7th, it'd only be 17, not 07. So it's 1D. Then we have a comma, space, the full year. That's 4 capital Y's, space. Then we have an hour. We see there's no leading 0 on that hour, so it's just a lowercase h, colon, then minutes, lowercase m's, space, and then AM, PM, lowercase a. All right, so this is going to be the payment date formatted. I guess we could name this formatted. I'm going to copy this, hit OK, and let's rename this to say parse or format date. So now that we have this formatted date, we can now set our refund amount. All right, the first thing again we have to figure out is how much time has elapsed. So we could say now minus this formatted date. So in our calendar operators, we have this variable of now, and then we can subtract again using a math operator, and then our variable of payment date formatted. All right, so that'll give us how many days have elapsed. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this in parentheses. And I like to use these function parentheses just so I'm using all make variables and icons and things. Afterwards, we need to divide how many days has elapsed by how many days exist in that payment period. So the amount of days that exist in the payment period would be 1 month after the date formatted. So we can take the 1 month afterwards and subtract this date formatted. So we're going to say divided, and again use the math operator of division, and then parentheses. And inside of those parentheses, we're going to say 1 month after this date. Again, make provides that for us. So here we have this add months function. And we're going to add 1 month to our payment date formatted. Okay, so we have 1 month, and then we're going to subtract the date. Okay, so this ultimately gives us a ratio, right? 5 divided by 31 if we are 5 days into a payment period of 31 days. So now we can multiply this by the amount that we paid in order to get our partial payment. All right, so we're going to multiply, math, multiply, and we're going to multiply by the amount. That's in the data that's coming in from the canceled payment info. So data amount, in this case is $1.25. Now this value is a fraction of what we've already paid, right? So remember, we pay up front, we don't pay as we go. So I've paid $2 already, or I paid $1.25 already. And this is just the 5 days worth of payment. So really we want the remainder of that to be the refund. So we need to subtract our amount, $1.25, and then subtract this value from $1.25 to get the amount that we're going to refund back. Okay, so we can say amount, right, minus, and then this value. So again, maybe we add some parentheses around all of this big string here, like that. I put a parenthesis at the end. Okay, so this will give us the amount that we should refund. Awesome. The only thing we have to do is format it, because this amount might have like several decimal places, right? It might be like 1.1732, and we would need to refund just the actual dollars and cents. So we need to format this number. Make provides a function for that. Hallelujah. So in our math operators, we can say format number. And you'd see it's looking for 3 parameters. It's looking for the number, the decimal points, and then the decimal separator. Okay, so I'm going to trash these things and add them in after the fact. Okay, so the number that I'm formatting is this big thing. Okay, then we need how many decimal points for dollars and cents. There'll only be 2. And then the decimal separator, for me, it's going to be a period. And then we're going to wrap it up with a final parenthesis. And then hit OK. And this is the refund amount. So hit OK. I've already renamed this module as refund. And now all we have to do is put this into a request to Payhere to refund that customer. So we're going to head back to the Payhere API page. We see that there's a section here for refunds. Looks like it's a post request. And it requires application JSON, our bearer token, and then we need the payment ID, which we already have, the amount that we're refunding, which we already have, and a reason. And I guess the reason should be requested by customer, duplicate, or fraudulent. So we'll leave it as requested by customer. All right, let's just go ahead and copy this entire thing here. All right. Let's head back to our make scenario. We're going to add in one final HTTP make a request. Okay, let's click out of there. Let's rename this give refund. And let's go to body type raw, content type JSON, request content paste. All right, so again, this is going to be a method of posting. So we can get rid of this information. This is going to be our URL. I'll put that in the URL above. All right, we've already defined application JSON and content type JSON. I guess it's the same deal. All right, so our authorization will be in our header. So name, authorization. Value is going to be our Payhere bearer token. I'm going to paste that in just a second. Okay, pasted. So I can delete that information. And then again, in the request content, all it's looking for is curly bracket to curly bracket. So it's looking for a payment ID. It's looking for an amount. And it's looking for a reason. Curly bracket, no quote. Okay, the payment ID that we are refunding is this value from our second iterator. Okay. We could probably also grab it from our data ID here as well. Okay, it should be the same exact value. Okay, I'll just do value here. Okay, the amount that we're refunding is going to be under the refund amount that we just created. And the reason is requested by customer. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and save our scenario. And let's test it out. Okay, so right now I currently have a subscription. And if I were to visit my customer portal in Payhere, I'm going to go ahead and visit the subscriptions tab. And we see I have one active subscription for $1.25 a month. So if I go through and create a new subscription now for anything less than that, I should get refunded basically the full amount because I made this payment today. So I should get refunded the entire amount and then have this automatically canceled. And then I'd only have one other subscription moving forward. Let's go ahead and give it a test. All right, so currently I'm on the silver plan, it looks like, for $1.25, or sorry, the gold plan. Let's downgrade to the silver plan. So I'm going to copy this. Visit Payhere and paste. In my make scenario, I'm going to run it. Let's listen for new. Pay. Subscribe for $1. We should see that it runs my scenario and gives me a refund. And when I go to my payment section, I can see that, yes, I got some full refunds on those subscriptions that I just canceled. So everything looks to be correct. And now we have this wonderful make scenario. Look how complicated this looks, but no, it actually works really well on being able to cancel plans when users go to switch between different plans. It cancels them and gives them a refund, and only updates Glide with the most recent information. So I still only have one subscription. Currently, it's active on the silver plan, which is what is reflected here in my payments at $1. Subscriptions should be at the silver plan level, which is $1 a month. And in Payhere, I should see I only have one subscription that's currently active. Back in my actual app, I can see that, yes, I belong to the silver plan. And as of 9:35 this morning, right, I have a payment, and it renews next month on the same month, 1 month after, January 12th. So now everything looks good inside of Glide on the Subscribe Now sheet. If we were to visit their user profile, we can see that they have the silver plan, and we can use this value for filtering and visibility conditions so that we're only giving them access to the content that they've subscribed to. All right, so all in all, it did require quite a bit of legwork on the Make side, the Glide side, and the Payhere side, but now we have this really robust, rich user experience that allows them flexibility in order to get the plan that meets their needs. Hopefully this is helpful to you, and you can use this moving forward with other logic that you have going on in your own subscription app. If you have any questions at all, feel free to leave me a comment below, and you can also reach out to me on Twitter at rpetito, and as always, thanks for watching.